Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? It's wee Paddy from across the shuck and another wee video for today. Today we're going to talk a lot about this knife, which is the new Jack Wolf Mini Cyborg Jack, which is just a stunning knife before we even go anywhere. But I'm going to talk a little bit about colour. The picture there was to grab you and let you see the colour. And I think Jack Wolf, more than anything at the moment, have been hitting us up with colour. And my drawer looks more beautiful for having the different colours that Jack Wolf has brought in, from my Cartas. This is not a Jack Wolf, this is a JEC in some sort of plastic resin, whatever they made it in. And this goes back to 2018. So, I mean, it's 6 years ago, long before Jack Wolf came out. And this was a real sort of, for JEC, love it or hate it. People either really loved it or really hated it. Um, I absolutely adore this knife. It's a 56 pattern. It's just a beautiful knife. I love it. It's got the long pull. This is the unexcelled version. There you go. You got the wee man and all there. Just a beautiful knife. An absolutely stunner. And in a size that I absolutely love. Again, it's that sort of boy's knife size. Much like the new Jack Wolf and the old Little Bro. They're just a little bit bigger than the boy's knife, which is just perfect for me. Absolutely love it. But I mean, even going back, and in fact, let's do go back. When I was a boy growing up, and I'm maybe a little bit older than quite a lot of you out there, this is the sort of knife that we used to buy in the shops for a couple of pound. It wasn't even a pound. These were when I was first buying them, and they were the cheapest knives out there that had all the colour and this marble effect. This is just done on cheap plastic. But this is a Richards knife, and they made all sorts of covers, especially coloured ones. They were just bright and cheerful wee knives. They weren't meant to last. This one Randy sent me, and it is in absolutely mint condition for how old it is. But they weren't meant to last. They were made for people to buy a couple of bob. You bought a knife, went away, wrecked it, blunted, bought another one. And that's what we used to do in my day with little cheap pen knives. I didn't have any expensive pen knives back then. The most expensive would have been sort of belt knives, like a bushcrafty type knife, a little belt knife or a skinning knife, whatever you want to call it. And we used to carry them on our hips then when we went out into the forests. But lots of these ones we used for everyday use. The steel was usually pretty crap on it. In fact, most of the time it was pretty crap. But it was just, you had two blades on it. It was nice to get a two-blade one because when one went dull, you had the other one. You used to sharpen them at the side of the road on the curbstones. Uh, these just done us for little boys' knives, and they were great, but they weren't meant to last. That's the difference with these modern knives. These are meant to last. These are meant to go on and be able to hand down to, your grandkids or your kids. And that's the nice thing about them. I picked these three small ones here because I want to talk about them. Two of them are Jack Wolf and one's JEC. But this is the normal size a lot of the Jack Wolves come in. So you can see that difference between the smaller two that they've brought out. Uh, and to be honest with you, there's a time and a place. Yes, I like a nice big knife that I can have in my hand. This is not particularly big. It's still under 3 inch of a cutting edge. But it is a stunning knife. Stunning knife. I'll put that over to the side. And let's talk about, first of all, before we go into these, let's talk about the knife of the moment. This is the knife that's going to be released on Friday night at 7 o'clock on Framar Knives on their website. I'll put that down below. I can I encourage people to buy? I do this every month nearly. We had a month off there, which was hell, waiting for the next design to come along. But if you want to try a Jack Wolf and you want a knife that's sort of an everyday carry that you will carry and use, I believe these ones are the sort of knives because you aren't going to damage them. You're going to be able to carry and use them. It's titanium. It's all the usual stuff, S90V. But these covers are just so wearable. And if you want to carry a nice little tiny pen knife, well, nice little tiny, that's just a wee bit exaggeration there. I'll give you a measurement of the overall knife. There we go. Let's get it up there. It is 6¼ 6¼ inches long. You have a cutting edge of just about 2 3/8, and 2 3/4 is the overall length of the blade from tip to hilt, which so it's totally UK legal. And we're having to say that more and more now, because they haven't changed the rules, but they've been talking about it for years. But as yet, they haven't changed them. So even if it's just a 3-inch cutting edge, it's still perfectly legal in the UK. But this, look at that resin on this. Is that not done just to perfection? It's called a chaotic resin. And it's exactly what it is, because nothing matches. It's just all just blobs, turns. It really is a 60s chick. And to me, that's just what it looks like, a 60s chick. So, Jack Wolf, look, in knife making now, it's all been done before. We keep talking about blade shapes and we keep going, but even coloured knives were done before. But at that time, they were more on the cheaper end of the market, because your good pocket knives then were in wood, bone, they were jig, they were the much more expensive knives. The colourful ones were the cheaper ones, by and large. And I'm just talking from what I can remember in my childhood, which was a long time ago. Sort of late 60s, when I started getting pen knives. I mean, I was only 10, 11-year-old. So that's when I started getting little pen knives to play with. And my dad would have bought them for us to go over. We used to make bow and arrows and that sort of thing that boys just don't do anymore, or girls. But look at that blade shape. That is so different, yet so recognizable. It's a clip point. It's not a Turkish clip, because I think it might even be the tiniest wee lift up, just the tiniest wee bit. But you've got a super point in this knife. You have a lovely bit of belly for cutting on a surface. You can cut right down on the surface. It's beautiful. I love the hand rub satin. My last lot of expensive knives, I've all had hand rub satin blades. It makes such a difference. Well, to me, it definitely does. I absolutely have grown to love it. Absolutely grown to love it. Beautiful little nail nick that doesn't take over. You still have your full swedge there on both sides, which is beautiful. But let me just bring this up. Look how this is matte, which I really like. It's shiny, but it's still very matte. It's not, you can see, I'll put it up against the JEC and their resin. This is more a sort of real shiny surface, where this is matte. And I love that change, because they've done the little boy's knife, or the little bro, I should say. And this was done in kieranite, which is used for countertops and everything in kitchen. Real sparkly, just glittery sort of cover. I just adore it as well. These two, and one's a clip, well, they're both clips, but you can see the complete difference in them. They just look like two different knives, which is great, because if you've got one, you haven't got the other until you get it. They look completely different knives, which is lovely. Put that over there again. Fit and finish, as always, with Jack Wolf knives is just superlatives. I was talking when I was doing my initial review of how where this is cut to come down, rather than just, folded, a bit of metal that's been treated to come this way. This has been cut down to get that angle. And I just think it is done to perfection. It's beautiful. It's definitely more, they're definitely more rounded over. I can say that for a fact. What was it? Yeah, even from the boy's knife. Even from the boy's knife, or not the, I keep saying the boy's knife, the little bro, this is definitely feels more smooth in hand, more rounded over. It doesn't look like much more, but it really is much more. And again, this is a 4-finger grip. I have a large hand that gets a 4-finger grip. I'm right up on the choil. That doesn't matter, because that's where I'll carry it anyway. That's where I like carrying my pocket knives and pen knives. In hand, it is like, this was a Ben design, the larger version. They had the larger version of this, which wasn't huge, but it was definitely a larger version. It was more in this size. This is, I just love the angles. It looks, when you're looking at it, that they're all over the place. They don't match, but you can match them up. This angle to this angle, this angle to this angle. There's, when you see the the design that went into it. And again, this was Ben's completely his own design. Now, it will look like other knives. Of course it will. But this is his design. He designed this. And I just think he done an amazing job. The butt end of it looks absolutely super. And again, really chamfered over at the butt. Chamfered over here. Smooth here. This is probably one of the smoothest knives that Jack Wolf has now. Don't get me wrong. I quite like them when it's that sort of severe finish because it just goes with a knife for me. But in hand, honestly, a cut with this, it's just gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. Beautifully thin behind the edge. I see an awful lot of people saying Jack Wolves don't come sharp. I just haven't had that experience yet. And that's the truth. I just haven't had that experience. But this is just absolutely razor sharp. I mean, it really is razor sharp. And that's receipt paper. So I've not had the experience. Now, maybe one day I will get one, and I'll let you know when I get one, but as yet, not had it. So, this, if you're just getting carried away with a Jack Wolf and you would like to start, now, unless you like a bigger knife, but to have an everyday carry, I think this is the perfect everyday carry knife. You're not going to worry about damaging the scales. You're not going to worry about, anything in this knife that would stop you using it. And I think a Jack Wolf, you've just got to use them because they're so good. And yeah, I know it's wildly expensive to some people, and me included, but you really have to experience. And that S90V just lasts for I don't know, an eternity. Strop it at the end of the day, comes up great. I use the diamond emulsion on it, and they just strop up. S90V strops up fantastic with it. Absolutely fantastic. What else can I tell you about the knife? It's as usual, clean inside. Absolutely gorgeous. But again, this thing with Jack Wolf. Come on. That is just delicious. Oh, that's how a pocket knife should sound. Like, I love my JWKs. This is just a cam tang. But I mean, it's not. This, to me, is how a pocket knife has to sound. Oh, it just jumps there. And you would have no fear. I mean, you can push this down. There's no problem. You'd have no fear. That's never going to close on me. I just wouldn't worry about it whatsoever. It's not going to close unless you have your fingers right up there. But, I mean, just hold your finger down there. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And then the close and finish off it, it just bang, straight in, centered. Didn't have to touch it. You don't have to move it. It's solid in that position. Absolutely super. Can you take these apart? You can, they're screwed. But why would you? There's no real need to ever take this knife apart. There really isn't. You just blow it out, put a bit of oil in it every now and then, and it just will go on forever. Like a lot of traditional knives. This is modern, but traditional knives, that's why they were pinned. There was no need to. There was no need to pin them. This gives you the option to change scales, maybe if you wanted to. But you'd be doing that as a custom because Jack Wolf don't supply them because each scale is fitted to each knife. They're all numbered. When you take this apart, they're all numbered. So each scale is perfectly fitted so there's not the slightest hint of a gap. It mates up like steel wood, and it is absolutely perfection. I mean, again, I love going round looking for imperfections just to see if I can find something that I would call an imperfection. Nothing. Nothing that I would call an imperfection. Is there maybe something? Maybe there is, but if I've got to look that hard for it, why the hell would I worry about it? It's an expensive knife. I expect it to come like this. Do you know what I mean? So there you go. The Jack Wolf. And then he said, big bro. Jeez, I don't know what I'm going to say. It just comes out of my face at different times, usually the wrong times. This is the Cyborg Jack. And honestly, as a companion and a different carry, if this is the sort of size that you like to carry, There is two beautiful options. Different covers. Completely, this is that sort of sleeve board. Different colours. Look at that. That's a Cyborg original. And then look at the blades. Different blades, but if you like a clip, oh, you've got to like that. There's so many different kinds of clips in there. There's just so many. And if you like them, you like them. And I like them. That is two beautiful knives. And again, Jack Wolf also do the bigger size. It's your fancy. I like both. Absolutely. Love both. But this is definitely my favourite. Just as this is in the boys' knife is on my GEC. It's the perfect size for everyday use. So there you go. I'm going to go away and I'm going to leave you a picture of this beautiful, beautiful knife. And please don't be late. There's going to be about 5 different variants of it. Go on to the Jack Wolf website, see the variants, pick the one you want, or get on to Frank's when he's got the pictures up. I'm not sure if Frank has a picture up at Framar Knives, which is the only place you can buy it in the UK. Be there on his website at 7 o'clock to get the colour you want, because we never know, and it's been proven, we never know which 1, 2, 3 are going to go first. Them first 1, 2 and 3, they go. And we never know which going to be first. They might not all sell out. Well, you know, they'll probably not all sell out. But the first 3 popular colours, and that's outside of your ability. Nobody knows what people are going to pick. And it has been completely different all the time. We try to guess it, and we're wrong 9 times out of 10, probably. So there you go. Get in early. They've less garish materials coming. Don't worry, there's plenty of that. But for me, this is perfect. I'm loving going back to that, 60s, 70s when I was buying little pocket knives. They were cheap plastic, but they were colourful. They looked nice to have. Made you feel smart having a wee pen knife. Couldn't cut anything with most of them, but I mean, you had a wee pen knife. A boy had a pen knife, and that's it. So Jack Wolf is really hitting that market, that nostalgia market. But for the newer ones coming around, don't have to brighten your collection up when you get something like this. Instead of having all black, black woods, bone, brown bone, just getting a little bit of colour. Even with your modern knives, there's not a lot of modern knives get colour on their knives. Again, there's always exceptions. Don't get me wrong. There's always exceptions. But this, great. Ben, well done. And we'll have Ben on the podcast on Thursday night. Please come along and we'll ask him what the hell he done for 2 months away, which shouldn't be allowed, and what he's got planned for the rest of the year. We'll not know, but we can ask him. Take care. Bye-bye now.